All right folks, work is done and dusted for the day, so I've snuck out for a quick little land-based session. The reason I want to get out today is because I have two of these guys to play with. So this is the new ZMan 3-inch HerculeZ. We'll talk a little bit more about it while we're fishing it, but this guy is going to be deadly on a stack of species including flathead, and that's what we're chasing today. So I've got about an hour of run in, an hour of run out tide, and we're going to see if we can get ourselves a flatty fishing land-based with the ZMan 3-inch HerculeZ. Fish on. All right, so tip number one I would give you for land-based fishing is to travel light and stay mobile if you can, especially if you're working in area flicking lures. So I've got my TT sling bag with me today, which is ideal. I've got my net leashed on to my bag, so I've got a net for landing my fish, and in my sling bag I've got everything I need for a session flicking plastics. So in the front pocket here I've got my phone, scissors, leader, scent, and just a few other lures with me. In the middle compartment here I've got my lip grips and my measure mat in case I get a good fish. My pliers are clipped in there. That's the TT 6-inch split ring pliers, just good handy versatile pliers. In the main compartment I've got my GoPro gear in a waterproof container, and I've also got a drink bottle, so I'm pretty well ready to roll. The great thing about this sling bag from TT is that when I am out there wading in the water, if I do land a fish or I want to re-rig and that sort of thing, I've also got my rod holder on here, so I can just drop my rod in there, do my rigging, or do whatever I need to do, and I'm not going to drop my rod in the water or in the sand or anything like that. So that's it, we're ready to roll. Let's get out and see if we can get ourselves a fish on that ZMan 3-inch HerculeZ. Fish on. Alright, so I'm just running a spin combo today. Depending on what lures you're throwing, you might want to run a 1 to 3 or a 2 to 4. I'm actually running a 3 to 6 today, throwing this 3-inch HerculeZ, just because I thought I might have a bit of wind to contend with, and also because I'm fishing the shallows and I want to fish this thing quite aggressively. So I'm using the bit stiffer rod to really flick and twitch that plastic up over the bottom to try and excite a flatty and get the hook up. I've got this rigged up with a 2500 ITX, 10-pound braid, and I've actually put 15-pound Platypus Hard Armor FC on here. I've run a 15-pound leader because there's been a few better quality flatties getting around, and sometimes the battle can be a little more sustained when you're fishing land-based, and I don't want to lose that fish when I get it close to the bank. So a little bit heavier leader is going to give me a bit more fight time, a bit more opportunity to muscle that fish in a little bit more. So that's that 3 to 6 kilo TT Black Mamba spin rod, ITX 2500. I've got 10-pound Bionic Braid X9 on here, and that 15-pound Platypus Hard Armor FC fluoro leader, so Japanese fluoro, nice quality leader. One thing I've definitely learned more about over the years is sun protection, and if you see me fishing land-based or even in the boat, you'll see I'm covered up head to toe, but even more so when you're wading the flats, because we're getting all of that reflected light off the water. So I like to run, you know, a hat. I've got my ZMan sun mask, tournament shirt, like a full long sleeve shirt, sun gloves, long quick dry sun protection pants, and I also run a pair of shoes when I'm wading the flats and that sort of thing. And I'd recommend a decent pair of shoes with a sturdy sole on them, because you never know what you could stand on or what you could come across while you're fishing the flats. So I like to wear footwear. There's all types of areas that you can fish land-based. I think some of the key things, like on the lower stages of the tide, I like to focus on the lower stage of the tide, right on those edges and channel edges and drop-offs where the water's running right off the edge. And then on the higher stages of the tide, I like to fish where the water is pushing up where it normally wouldn't be, up around structure that will hold fish. So if you've got an area that's fairly constant throughout the tide and you've got good water depth and structure, that's great. Personally, I like to look for areas where the fish move in there for a reason. So when the tide drops out, they're concentrated, there's structure, there's good depth, there's eddies and bait fish and all that sort of thing. On the higher stages of the tide, why do they move into an area? They move in for bait, for structure, and yeah, just to hunt areas that they can't access when the tide is out. So The area that I'm in here has got sand edges and drop-offs, hollows, bits of weed, all sorts of structure here that will attract flathead in to feed. So we should also see some bait moving in here, hopefully, as the tide moves in. Another thing I look for is wind direction. So depending on where you're fishing, the wind blowing onto the bank can stir up water and make it murky, which can sometimes be good for some species. Today I'm fishing with the wind behind me, and what that does is that allows me to throw a really long cast. So I've chosen an area where I can throw long casts and I can cover maximum water looking for those flatties that are lurking up onto this flat. So fingers crossed, as the water moves up, the bait will move up, the fish will move up. There's eddies, there's weed, there's sand, there's lots of edges and structure here that will hold bait and hold fish, hopefully. Oh, yep, there we go. Straight up, we got ourselves a hit. Oh, that's a good looking fish too. Wowzers, I didn't expect to get one that early in the piece. This is super pumped. This is a nice fish too. I'm just going to move back into the shallows a little more here and swim the fish with me. Oh, how pumped am I? That's about 6 casts in on the new 3-inch ZMan Hercules. It's an awesome looking placky. It's got a brutally strong Mustad black nickel chemically sharpened hook on here, so good for penetration, also good for targeting jacks, barra, you know, other species as well. That hook is rock solid. All right, I got my net attached to me, we're ready. Come on, fish. That is a good fish. Oh yeah, that's a good fish. Come on, stay in there, don't bite me off. Got that 15-pound platypus hard armor fluoro on there so that we got a better chance. Oh, this is a cracker. This is a cracker fish. Super pumped. Doesn't want to come up over this edge. It's pretty cranky. All right, how am I going to fit you in the net, buddy? That's the next challenge. There he goes, just danced past me. Oh, that is one angry fish. Now landing it can be a bit more interesting than in the boat, so we just got to get that head up a little off the bottom so that we can net this fish. Otherwise we can slide it up onto the bank. We've got a little bit of walking to do yet to get it to the bank. There it is, it's swallowed it too, so we don't want to get bitten off. Come back this way, buddy. It's a nice looking fish. In the net. Oh, that is a cracker. Have a look at that thing. That is what an epic fish. That's what we're looking for. Let's get it in there. We'll have a look at that. You might be able to see that Hercules right down in the gob there. We'll put this guy on the measure, see how we go. First time fishing the ZMan 3-inch Hercules. The first fish I've caught on it is an absolute cracker. What a slab. This is a tank of a fish. Oh, land based on the ZMan 3-inch Hercules. Come on, get out of that net. Come on, get out of there. Righto, we got you out of there. Let's put you on the grips, put you on the mat and have a look at you. Wow, have a look at that thing. Righto. Oh, that's what I was hoping for. That's what I was hoping for, a good one like that. That's 67 centimetre flatty. We got to get this Blackie back out of there, so have a look at that. That's in there, hooked beautifully in the corner of the jaw, and that's a great little mullet profile. That 3-inch Hercules, that's in Sexy Mullet colour. All right folks, I'm super pumped on that. What a fish on the ZMan 3-inch Hercules. That is an absolute beast. That's what I was hoping for. Best thing with these, watching the big girl swim away. What a fish. Wow guys, I am blown away. What a start. That was crazy. Even if that's the only fish I get, I'll be super pumped. So My leader is chewed, so I'm super stoked that I had that 15-pound hard armor FC on there, but I'm going to have to retie that leader. That's chewed pretty well, so I'll retie that and we'll get this little guy out for another swim and see how we go. Buckle up. Alright guys, if you watch any of my vids, you'll know that I love to scent up when I'm fishing plackies, and I think any advantage you can get with land-based fishing, it's even more important, because we're going to cover water. We want to maximize the chance of attracting fish. We want to maximize the chance of triggering aggressive strikes, and we want that fish to really hold onto it so that we can get that real good solid hook set to give us a better chance of landing that fish, especially if it's a sustained battle. So I've sent it up with some ProCure Super Gel there in sardine pilchard flavour, and we're just going to move back out and start to pick these deeper pockets again. What you can see me doing here is, as I'm moving along this sand area here, I'm casting ahead of me, so just in case there's any fish up there, hopefully I get the bite, and then I can move into that area once I've cast there, and then from that area I'll spray casts around me and just cover the flat and see if I can find a fish. So all about covering water and all about trying to not walk in too much area so you disturb too much. Try and keep a focus line of where you're walking through, cast ahead of yourself, and then just spray those casts around, find those fish. Not sure if you can see this guy in the water there, but in the current there you can see his tail going crazy. He's got a beautiful kicking tail action, but when you twitch him, he kind of rocks from side to side a bit as well. Flashes that side flank, gets that tail ripping. Looks really, really good. This thing, I can see why that fish ate it straight up. It's a great presentation in the water. Alright, back to some big long casts. We'll cover a bit of water and see if we can find ourselves another one. It was pretty cool to be involved in the design and the development process with the HerculeZ project, and I think the finished product's awesome. It's in a 4, 5 and 6 inch, and now this new 3 inch. And one thing I like to do, you know, we've tested it through the process, but I really like to get my hands on the finished product and swim it and mess around with the retrieves and see how it responds. So from what I'm seeing fishing this guy, a slow roll is fine, just winding that reel, letting that tail do its work and letting it swim over the top of the flats. A long lift and then a pause and wind up the slack, gets it up off the bottom, swimming high up and then dropping back down again. So that's that lift, pause and wind up the slack, wait for that tap, that bite. Also a few hops, gets it moving pretty cool in the water, a few hops, and then I've been fishing it with a bit of a shaky retrieve, so I'm winding and shaking, pausing, and that gets it darting even more aggressively, so darting across the flats and then pausing. So it's just a matter of mixing up your retrieves until you find what the fish want on the day. They might want a slow roll, they might want just a big long lift, they might want a couple of hops, or they might want something more erratic. So just a matter of mixing it up until you get some bites. Oh, there we go, there we go, there we go. We've got another bite. This one doesn't feel as big, but that's okay. That's okay. Shows that the range of sizes will eat this plackie no problem with this nice solid black nickel chemically sharpened mustard hook on there. Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. There you go, from one extreme to the other. That guy, I don't think he would be legal, but he has scoffed that, so he's like the look of that HerculeZ 3 inch, that mullet presentation as well. That fish would be in the 30s. In the 30s. Oh, come here, buddy. That's brilliant. I'm stoked to see a fish that size eat that plackie. So that fish would be in the 30s, and he has eaten that 3 inch HerculeZ. No problem. That's cool. See you, buddy. Where's your mum? Well, there you go, from a 67 to a 30 something. So the fish have no problem eating it, and that black nickel chemically sharpened mustard hook certainly pinned that fish beautifully. So right in the corner of the jaw again. That's very cool. That means, you know, if you, whether you're chasing 40s or whether you're chasing big stonker flatties, no problem eating it. Which I'd think 3 inch size is a good size, great all round sort of size. big long cast again. So this overall weight of this plastic setup, pre-rigged as it is 3/8 of an ounce. I believe it's built on a 1/4 ounce head weight, so you know it's a good weight to throw a long cast, but it doesn't just absolutely plummet to the bottom, so it's got a really nice fall with that tail working. So I'd be happy to fish this from almost no water through to sort of 2 to 3 meters, fishing those channel edges and stuff. Of course, more run or less run is gonna dictate that as well, but I would happily hop it down the edges in 2 or 3 meters or fish it up on the flats. It's a great little presentation, that's for sure. So we might switch color then. We've got 2 flatties, which is brilliant. I wasn't sure if we'd get one this arvo, you never know, but 2 flatties on that Sexy Mullet color. We might change it up to the Mulletron in a few casts and give that a go. All right folks, we've got our Mulletron rigged, just tied on with a locked blood knot, nice and secure. You can see that color there, very natural baitfish color, nice translucent bottom on there. You can see that head weight in there with that stainless steel attachment point for attaching a blade for flash and vibration, assist hooks, or a treble as a stinger. And that's our Mulletron color, really beautiful natural color, nice black back with a bit of glitter in there, really good contrast, will stand out nice on the sand, and then that silvery belly, and that will stand out well over the weed. So yeah, beautiful mullet imitation with that strong mustard hook in there. So now we're pretty much just going to work back over the area where we worked first up and see if some more fish have moved into the area, see if they like the look of the Mulletron. When I'm moving across the flat like I am here now, I'm actually trying to be as stealthy as I can, so I'm just, you know, moving with fairly slow, small steps, trying not to spook any bait or spook anything that's in the area. Especially if it's shallow, you don't want to be splashing around too much in there. I'm above the knees here, so I'm just slowly stepping across the flat. Try not to spook the bait, try not to spook the fish, leave it as natural as I possibly can, as if I'm not here. Hopefully those fish will feed naturally, they won't even think about me. Another thing you need to think about a little bit too is your shadow. Where is your shadow falling? Your shadow can spook fish, but your shadow can also spook bait, which can spook the flat a bit as well. So just remember where your shadow is moving. Oh yeah, there we go. Did we get him? Yep, we got him, Yeah, we got him. Oh, that was a good take, real aggressive take on the Mulletron. Yeah, so think about your shadow when you're fishing as well, because you don't want to spook fish. You know, you'll sometimes see bait and fish spook when birds go over. Same sort of thing, your shadow. What have we got this time? This one looks silver. What are you that's eating my Mulletron? You're a grunter. Well, there you go. How's that? Look at that gob full of mullet for that grunter. That is wild. I would not have expected a grunter to eat that on the flat, but he has, and I'm happy. That's very cool. Hey buddy, what are you doing, mullet eater? Alright, we don't want to get spiked here. I'm just got to watch those plates on his gob. Come here, mate. There we go. He's not even a monster grunter, but he has just drilled that Mulletron Plucky 3-inch Hercules. Well, that is pretty cool. A couple of flatties, and now that grunter javelin fish has drilled that little mullet swimming across the flats. So we'll get him off, get him back out in the water. Awesome. There you go, buddy. See ya. He's away. Well, that's pretty cool. I wasn't sure what other species would get on this guy other than jacks, barra, mulloway, you know, all the usual suspects, but grunter was a bit of a surprise. Alright folks, remember to pay attention to what's going on around you. So I can see the tide has just turned now and the water's dirtier. water's getting dirtier, so I've gone back to that Sexy Mullet colour that got that big bite initially. Hopefully that pops a bit more in the water and the fish can see it a bit easier. And I'm just going to do one more sweep over the area and just see if we can jag ourselves one more for the session. Oh, what were you? Yep. What were you? Second go. Grabbed it on the second go. Oh, nice flatty. Had a crack at it, missed it, came back, drilled it. That is epic. Come on, buddy. In you come. Look at that. What a ripper. In the net. Oh, fired up too. Drop our rod in our rod holder and we'll have a look at this bloke. There we go, have a look at that. Another nice flatty, that'd be in the 50s. Smash that 3-inch HerculeZ. I hope you've enjoyed that session with me out on the flats. That's been an epic little session, you know. Bit under an hour of run in, tide's turned and we've got another nice fish. So let's get this bucky. You can see where that's pinned him beautifully. Pinned him in the top of the jaw. See you later, mate. Fish on, that's cool. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed that quick little session fishing the flats land-based. We fished the end of the run in, start of the run out, bit over an hour or so, and we were throwing this little guy around. So I hope you got some tips on fishing land-based, and also I hope you enjoyed our first session throwing the finished ZMan 3-inch HerculeZ. So it's a little pre-rigged swim bait. It's tough as nails, it's got a brutally strong hook on there, and it's ready to go catch fish straight out of the packet. So what a cool little session. We got ourselves that 67 centimeter flatty straight up on about the 6th cast. Followed it up with a little flatty, which was cool to see. A 30 something centimeter flatty ate that no problem. Then we got ourselves a grunter and then finished off with another nice flatty in the 50s. So that was a cracker little session. I had a great time. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out those little ZMan 3-inch HerculeZ. Get out there, have a crack land-based, and I hope you get stuck into a few soon. Cheers.